Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are tackling a concept that, honestly, it sounds like it belongs in a medieval wizard's tower or maybe a fantasy novel.
Oh, you mean alchemy?
Yes, exactly. Alchemy.
Right, the old pursuit of the philosopher's stone. You know, turning base metals like lead into gold.
That's the one. But we aren't setting up a laboratory here today. We don't have beakers or Bunsen burners or anything like that.
Thankfully.
Right, because we are looking at a source text that treats alchemy as a strictly internal spiritual process. It's about turning the human soul from something mixed and alloyed into what it calls sachasona.
Sachasona, true gold.
Yeah.
It is a really powerful metaphor, and it's actually the central theme of the Sakari Murli we are analyzing today. This is a spiritual guidance text dated for tomorrow, February 23, 2026.
And what's interesting is the text itself frames this whole discussion as a Rohani Tofa, a spiritual gift.
Which is a fascinating way to start, isn't it?
It
doesn't frame these instructions as strict commandments or heavy rules. It calls them a gift.
Like it's a privilege.
Exactly. It implies that the capacity to transform yourself, to actually do this internal alchemy, is something precious that's being handed right to you.
Right. And our mission today is to unwrap that gift. We need to figure out the how. Like, how does one actually take a stressed out, overthinking, modern mind and refine it into this true gold?
That is the big question.
And perhaps more importantly, the text promises that this whole process leads to a state called the Carefree Emperor.
Yes. The Befikar Badshah.
Yeah, that's the title. And I have to say, looking at the world right now, being a carefree emperor sounds like the ultimate luxury. I mean, forget the yacht. Just give me a brain that isn't worrying at 3 in the morning.
We can certainly aim for that. But, you know, as with any alchemical process, before you get the gold, you really have to deal with the heat. You can't just wish the impurities away.
Okay, fair enough. So let's get into the context first. The source sets the stage pretty dramatically. It doesn't just say, hey, it's February. It addresses the listeners as sweet children and places them in a very specific slice of time called the Sangam-Yug.
The Confluence Age.
Yeah.
If you are following this specific philosophy, the Confluence Age is the most critical time period. It's the transition between the end of an old cycle, the Iron Age, and the beginning of a totally new one, the Golden Age.
So it's crunch time?
Effectively, yes. It's the final semester of university. It's the last few minutes of the fourth quarter. The text uses this timing to create a real sense of urgency. It says essentially, you don't have time to mess around anymore because now we must return home.
Yeah, that phrase return home really hit me because usually when someone says I'm going home, they mean they're driving back to the suburbs to watch Netflix.
Right.
But here home is completely metaphysical.
It is. Home in this context is the soul world, the incorporeal realm. The text is telling the listener that their time on the physical stage is wrapping up. And this idea of going home isn't just a travel itinerary, it's actually a tool for detachment.
Let's dig into that detachment a bit. The specific instruction is to detach the intellect from the old body and bodily relationships. Now, I'll be honest, when I hear detach from the body, I get a little nervous.
It sounds extreme.
It does. It sounds like dying. Or at least like neglecting yourself entirely.
I can definitely see why it sounds that way, but let's look at the nuance the text provides. It's not about neglecting the vehicle. It's about realizing you are the driver. Think about it like a rental car.
A rental car.
Sure, if you're driving a rental car and you know you have to return it to the airport in an hour, how do you treat it?
I mean, I guess I drive it carefully so I don't get charged extra.
Right. You drive it carefully, but you don't obsess over it. You don't decide to repaint it. You don't identify with it. If someone scratches it, you might be annoyed, but you don't feel like you were scratched. You aren't the car. You're just using it to get to the terminal.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So the old body is just the high mileage rental we're currently driving.
Exactly. The text is asking for that profound shift in identity. Instead of thinking, I am this aging, aching body with all these earthly problems, you think, I am the soul. And this is just the costume or the car I'm in before I fly home.
So it's a form of psychological distancing.
And it's incredibly liberating.
Right.
Because if you are just the driver, the car's dents aren't your dents. This mindset is the strict prerequisite for the alchemy we talked about earlier. You simply can't purify the soul if you are fully convinced you are the body.
Wow, okay. And the standard for this purification is incredibly high. The text says the goal set by Baba, which is the spiritual father figure in this context, is to become Sampurna Pavan, completely pure.
Not 90% pure, completely pure.
Which brings us back to the gold analogy. The source material uses this term, cod. It says the soul currently has cod mixed into it.
Yes, cod means alloy. In metallurgy, if you have gold mixed with copper, iron, or silver, it's an alloy. It's harder, it's less malleable, and critically, it's less valuable than 24-karat gold.
So what exactly is the cod in a human soul?
It's the accumulation of body consciousness. It's the vices, the weaknesses, past traumas, your attachments to temporary things. The text views these as foreign elements. They aren't actually you. They are just stuff that got mixed in over time through all these worldly interactions.
I really like that distinction because it suggests that at our core, we are already gold. We just have a lot of, well, gunk mixed in.
Yeah.
We aren't trying to become something we aren't. We're just trying to reveal what we already are.
Precisely. But here is the major challenge. You can't just pick the copper out of the gold with tweezers. It's completely fused together.
Right. So how do we separate it? The text asks this directly. It says, by what effort, or purusharth, can you souls become true gold?
And the answer given is the fire of yoga, Yogakyagni.
See, this is where I usually get a bit stuck.
Yeah.
Because yoga to the general public usually means downward dog or, wearing fancy leggings to the gym.
Right, the fitness craze.
Yeah. But here, we are talking about a fire.
We really have to strip away the Western exercise context here. Yoga in this specific philosophical context simply means union or connection. And the fire comes from the sheer intensity of that connection.
But practically speaking, what does that actually look like? Am I sitting in a room sweating? Is it an emotional fire?
Think of it as intense cognitive focus and deep emotional resonance. The text says, when you constantly burn your weaknesses in the fire of yoga, this happens through targeted remembrance.
Remembrance?
Yes. You are consciously connecting your intellect to the divine, the Father, and holding that connection with the absolute awareness that I am a soul, I am pure, and I'm going home.
So it's like laser focus.
Yes. Think about a magnifying glass. If you hold it loosely on a sunny day, the sunlight just kind of warms the paper underneath it.
Yeah.
But if you hold it perfectly still, focus on one tiny single point, what happens?
It catches fire.
It burns. That is Yogakyagni. It's the absolute concentration of your spiritual identity. When you are so completely immersed in that connection with the divine, the alloy, the petty thoughts, the jealousy, the anger, it simply can't survive in that atmosphere. It gets incinerated.
That's an incredibly helpful visual.
Yeah.
So it's not just vaguely thinking about God. It's focusing so hard and so clearly that the impurities physically, well, spiritually burn off.
Exactly. And the text emphasizes that this has to be constant. A blast furnace doesn't work if you turn it off every 5 minutes to check your phone.
Oh man, that's the hard part, isn't it? The consistency. But the text does promise that the result is becoming Satchasona, true gold.
True gold. And true gold is radiant. It's valuable. But notice what the text does here. It pivots immediately from this intense, fiery internal process to a very specific, very cool external behavior.
I noticed that shift too. It moves to dharna, the practical behavioral application of all this.
Yeah.
And the key word it uses is sheetal.
Sheetal. It translates to cool or soothing.
It seems like a huge contradiction. Inside, you're sitting in the fire of yoga. But outside, your nature should be very pure and cool.
It's actually the classic hallmark of true mastery. High energy inside, low entropy outside. The text specifically says, regarding your vision and your speech, keep it cool.
And then it drops this massive rule. It says, never cause sorrow to anyone through your behavior. The word used is duke.
Never cause sorrow.
See, I have to push back on this a little bit. Never. That feels almost impossible for a human being. I mean, sometimes you have to give people bad news. Sometimes you have to set a firm boundary and people get upset. Does this instruction mean we have to be doormats just to avoid causing sorrow?
That's a very valid concern. But let's look at the source's definition of sorrow here. Causing sorrow usually refers to acting out of those alloys we just talked about. Anger, ego, arrogance, selfishness. It's entirely about intent.
Okay, so if I fire someone because they stole from the company, that's not necessarily causing sorrow in this spiritual sense.
If you do it with rage and a desire to humiliate them, yes, that's causing sorrow. Your alloy is showing.
Ah, I see.
But if you do it with benevolent detachment, doing what is absolutely right for your role without any personal malice, that is different. The text clarifies this by giving you a specific title to hold. It calls you a Master Rahamdil.
Master Merciful.
Right. Being a Master Merciful means your primary orientation toward the entire world is benevolence. You are like the Father. You are there to show the path of knowledge.
So you operate as a guide, not a judge.
Exactly. If your core mindset is, I am here to guide and uplift, you naturally stop causing sorrow.
Yeah.
You can't be merciful and cruel at the exact same time. The mercy simply crowds out the sorrow.
That is a very proactive state. You aren't just walking on eggshells trying not to offend people.
Yeah.
You are actively radiating mercy.
And that leads directly to the ultimate payoff. We've done the internal alchemy. We've adopted the cool, merciful behavior. What is the final result?
The carefree emperor. The Bafikar Badshah.
It's such a sticky, evocative phrase.
It really is. But again, let's poke at it. Emperor implies massive responsibility. Millions of subjects, laws, borders. Carefree implies, well, not really caring. Lounging around. How do those two concepts exist together? Usually the boss is the most stressed person in the building.
In the material world, absolutely. Heavy lies the crown. But in the spiritual context, we have to ask why the emperor is carefree.
Well, the text mentions a tilak of success. It says, experiencing the tilak of success constantly on one's forehead.
Right. The tilak is that traditional mark of victory or sovereignty placed on the forehead. The text is saying you are carefree because the victory is completely guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
If you are true gold, if you are perfectly aligned with the divine through that yoga fire, success isn't something you are desperately chasing anymore. It's something you are already wearing.
Wow. That completely changes the dynamic of work and effort, doesn't it? If I know for a fact I'm going to win the lottery tomorrow, I definitely don't stress about the electric bill I got in the mail today.
Exactly. The anxiety we feel always comes from the what if. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if they don't like me? The carefree emperor has burned away all that doubt in the fire of yoga. They know exactly who they are as a soul. They know exactly where they are going home.
So they sit on the throne, but they don't sweat the small stuff.
Precisely. They rule their inner kingdom without the anxiety of the outer world.
That sounds incredible. But, and there is always a but, in the real world, we live in an environment that is constantly throwing small stuff at us. Actually, really big stuff too. Bad news, difficult people, global crises.
Yeah.
The text calls these inauspicious thoughts or impure vibes.
Yes. The atmosphere of the world right now is heavy. The text openly acknowledges that.
So how does a carefree emperor protect their kingdom? How do you keep the alloy, all the stress and anger, from mixing right back into the gold?
This is honestly my favorite part of the whole deep dive. The text gives a very specific mechanism for protection in the slogan section at the end. It offers a shield.
Right, the slogan says, those who hold good wishes in every thought. Shubhavna.
Shubhavna. Pure feelings. Deeply held good wishes.
And the promise attached to this practice is incredibly bold. It says, if you hold good wishes in every single thought, then inauspicious or impure thoughts cannot even touch you or come near you.
Think about the physics of that statement for a second. It's describing a repulsive force.
Like magnets.
Yes, if you have a strong enough magnetic field, certain metallic objects just deflect. They physically can't penetrate the field.
But wait a minute, does holding good wishes mean I have to approve of everything happening around me? If someone is being incredibly toxic or abusive, do I just smile and say, I wish you well?
It's not about approval at all. It's entirely about your internal state. You can completely disapprove of an action, you can try to stop an injustice, but still hold a fundamental wish for that soul's transformation or ultimate well-being. The moment you hate them or fear them, you've dropped your shield. You've let their negativity inside your fortress.
That's a crucial distinction. The shield isn't for them, it's for you.
Exactly. This is pure mental hygiene. If your mind is saturated with Shubhavna, if every single cylinder is firing with benevolence, there is literally no vacuum for the bad stuff to enter. You are pressurized with positivity.
Pressurized with positivity. I really like that image. It's like a submarine. The only way to keep the crushing weight of the ocean out is to have the pressure inside equal to or greater than the pressure outside.
That is a perfect analogy. The world outside is trying to crush you with negativity and sorrow. The fire of yoga and these constant good wishes create the internal pressure that keeps you structurally sound.
But the text sets the bar high again. It says you have to do this in every thought, not just on Sundays, not just when you've had your morning coffee and you're feeling generous.
That's the real discipline. That's the Purusharth we mentioned earlier. It's very easy to have good wishes for your best friend or your kids. It's extremely difficult to have genuine good wishes for the guy who just cut you off in traffic or the politician you absolutely despise.
But according to the logic of this text, that's exactly when you need the shield the most.
Yes, because that flash of anger you feel toward the bad driver, that's the alloy creeping back in. That's the lead mixing with your newly refined gold.
Man. So we have a really complete system here. It's actually quite engineered when you lay it all out.
It is remarkably systematic. Let's trace the line from start to finish.
Okay, you start with the context, realizing you are in the confluence age, feeling the urgency of going home, being just a driver in a rental car.
Then you apply the method, the fire of yoga.
Yeah.
Intense, laser-focused remembrance that incinerates the impurities and the body consciousness.
Which leads to the state, becoming true gold, complete purity.
Which then naturally manifests in your behavior. Constant coolness, mercy, being a master merciful who never causes sorrow.
And finally, the protection, maintaining the shield of good wishes that keeps you safe and secure as a carefree emperor.
It's a literal roadmap from daily anxiety to spiritual sovereignty.
It really is. You know, when we started this discussion, I joked about alchemy being wizard stuff. But this feels incredibly practical. It's a very intense form of cognitive restructuring.
It absolutely is. It's ancient wisdom, yes, but it aligns beautifully with a lot of what we know today about focus, mindset, and emotional regulation. The fire is essentially entering a deep flow state. The Good Wishes act as applied positive psychology.
But with a major spiritual kicker. The foundational idea that you are a soul, not a physical body.
That's the linchpin of the whole text. Without that initial identity shift, none of this works. You simply can't be a carefree emperor if you think you're a fragile mortal body constantly fighting for survival. You have to know you're the immortal soul just passing through on your way home.
Before we wrap up today, I want to go back to that every thought idea. Because maintaining a shield in every thought for a lifetime sounds completely daunting.
It sounds impossible for a beginner, frankly.
So I want to leave our listeners with a provocative thought today. Bit of a challenge. The text claims this shield of good wishes is impenetrable. That negativity literally cannot touch you if you have it up.
That is the core claim of the slogan.
So why not test it out? I'm proposing a practical experiment for you listening right now. Not for a week. Not even for a whole day.
Just for the commute home, maybe?
Even shorter. 1 hour. Pick one single hour today. And in that hour, commit to total aggressive good wishes.
Aggressive good wishes.
Yes. Aggressively wish well to everyone and everything you encounter. The person annoying you on an email chain. Send them a mental blessing. The news headline that scares you. Send peace to the situation. Blockade your mind against anything that isn't Shubhavna.
And see if you actually feel like an emperor during that hour.
Exactly. See if the stress can actually touch you. If the source text is right, you should feel invincible.
It's a low-risk, high-reward experiment. I love it.
And if you fail after 10 minutes and get mad at someone,
then you just fire up the furnace again. Remember, alchemy is a process. You rarely get the pure gold on the very first try.
That is the honest truth. Well, thanks for helping us unpack this spiritual gift today. It's definitely given me something to think about besides my daily grocery list.
It's been a real pleasure. Stay gold, everyone.
And stay carefree. We'll see you all in the next deep dive.